pray at 3:15, which is 8 in Singapore. Inshallah. We'll start our class, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. وبه نستعين على كل أمور الدنيا والدين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ونور قلوبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نوينا تعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقرب ثوابه سبحانه وتعالى مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدن ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المطلوب وفهم المكن مثل الكاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المطلوب والفهم المكن مثل الكاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون والفهم المكنون بسر الكاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون والفهم المكنون من سر كاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون والفهم المكنون بسر كاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون والفهم المكنون بسر كاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون وفهم المكن المسر كاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون وفهم المكن المسر كاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون والفهم المكنون من سر الكاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. في كل لحظة بدأ على خلقه ورضا نفسه زنة عرشه ومداد كلماتي. الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله. وكتب بابك النبذة الصغرى لمعرفة ركن رابع من أركان الدين وعلاماته والكبرى والوسطى والصغرى. Right. So in the book, the concise article like on knowing the fourth integral, right, of the integrals of this religion, and of the signs of the major, middle, and the minor signs of the end of time. Right. So we are, yes, today we were on the Mudillatul Fitan, correct? And we are there, right? So we are on the first science. So I hope that all of you here, like if you have not been listening to these classes from the beginning, I hope you put in effort to catch up. Okay, put in put in effort to catch up, right? On the classes, you can always go to my YouTube, right? Go to the Science of the End of Times, if I'm not wrong, that's what it's called, right? And you can go back to the beginning classes. For those of you who are new to this class, so please go back, right? Because it is important that the first, you say first 8 or 9 chapters of this book, they form the assess, they form the foundation of this knowledge. Now we are going into the application of the knowledge, right? So these 5 sciences that we're in right now, the 5 sciences that they are the fruits, right, of the knowledge of the end of times, right? These are the fruits. So Habib has of Quran. May Allah have mercy on his soul, right? And we want him great on our behalf. Right, he has compartmentalized the hadiths, of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, like his inform, his you say his prophecies, that Habib Abu Bakr, he has compartmentalized them into 5 different sciences to be studied. Right, so this is basically, you say, the fruit of this knowledge. So then from here comes the application, right? Because every knowledge will have its theory, like, and it's not theory, but it's just you will have its principles. And in Islam, you don't say theory. In Islam, you say principles, right? In science, you say theory. In science, you will say theory, of the molecular theory of matter, for example. You say theory for science, because science, you can't say something conclusively, in the workings of science. You actually can't say something conclusively, because you don't know what is really in the inner dimensions of things, especially things beyond human perception. Right? But with regards to the religion, right, to Islam, because knowledge, has come to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is qat'i. Right. So in Islam, right, when it has come to us, with very strong sources, and very strong proofs that this is from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you say these, sciences, or this kind of knowledge, you would say this is knowledge. Khalas, it's knowledge. It's not theory, it's ilm. Right? It's real knowledge. It's not the theory of someone. It can't be debunked, right? It is fact. It's fact from the creator of the heavens and the earth. It is fact. Right? So we say principles. We say theory, we say principles. Right? So once the principles of this knowledge has been laid out, and so from the principles of this knowledge, that you build upon the principles, and now we have, derived, or you basically, it has been formalized, or it has been formulated the 5 sciences, right, that come out from the principles of this knowledge. You get me? Right. So the first 8 chapters are very important to understand. I know I have gone through the summary of the first 8 chapters several times. Right, and I keep doing a summary of them, right? Because it's so important, right, for you to understand the first 8 chapters, right? Because chapter 9, 10, 11, or chapter 9 and 10, they kind of they are like summaries, right, of the first 8 chapters, right? So right now we are on chapter 11, chapter 11. So because chapter 9 is and it is chapter 9 introduces us of one. The first 8 form the foundations. Chapter 9 opens up the door to application. Right? Chapter 9 opens up the door to application, because chapter 9 basically summarizes the 5 knowledges that um that are born, you will say, they are born out of the principles established in the first 8 chapters. You get me? Right, so it is so important that you go and study the first 8 first. Okay, you can listen to the classes what meanwhile, but please, and I will say, even if you've gone through it with me, go through it again and again and again and again. Like I myself have studied these books. I think I can't even remember how many times we did right now. Like I think I definitely more than 5 times. I studied this book, right, more than 5 times, and every single time I study it, like every single time, like more information or more, you will say, realizations occur, that you learn more stuff, and it's the same book, mashallah, the same book, but you learn more things. So I'll say, go back to the lectures, right? Listen to it over and over again, right? Internalize the meanings. It is very important for us to get what is coming up, right? So chapter 9 is basically all the five knowledges. Chapter 10, right, was a diagram to summarize the entire thing, right, of where we're coming into. And number 11, we've been on this for quite a few weeks, right? Number 11 is the first of the 5 knowledges of the end of times. The first of the 5 meaning areas of study. When we say first of the 5 knowledges, we will mean first of the 5 areas of study. This entire subject is very, very important. It's not something like by the side. This is as core, I would say it's as core as studying your fiqh, studying your aqidah, like studying akhlaq. It's as core as that because it's one of the integrals of Islam. So it's as core as that. So it has to be taken with seriousness, taken with grit. You have to really study this well and understand this. So right now we are at the Mudillatul Fitan, and I'm going to read from the Arabic text first, and I'm going to go into the English text, inshallah. وأما مضلات الفتن فهي ما خرج به الفرد أو جماعة أو الأسرة أو القبيلة أو الأمة عن جادة الطريق المشروعة إلى خدمة الشر والدجال والشيطان. Right, that is the definition of mudillatul fitan. We went through the definition of fitan before. Right, so fitan basically are trials and tribulations, and there is a broad meaning in Islam of trials and tribulations, as we know that it can be positive, it can be negative. Right? In the study of التحولات, in the study of the changes at the end of times, we are focused on what is negative. Right? We're focused on what is destructive. Fitna that destroys and destroys. We're not talking about destroys buildings, nor homes. No, right? The real fitna is what destroys iman because that has an everlasting effect. That if someone does not, you know, um, their iman, it will destroy. It will, and they find that way. And we believe that that's how we find we all believe that then they are subject to eternal damnation in the hellfire. Right? So then you will say it is the most serious form of fitna because the shar of it, the evil of it is everlasting. As opposed to, fitna that happens in this dunya, as terrible as it might be, loss of wealth, loss of home, loss of children, loss of, family, loss of, eyesight, loss of limb. People go through all kinds of losses in this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that indeed Allah will definitely test you, right, with loss. He will test you with loss. But loss of this dunya is as long as you live. And once you die, it is all irrelevant. They all become irrelevant except how you responded to these losses. Then they either manifest for your day of judgment as reward, and also forgiveness of your sins, or if someone, face these tribulations in a terrible way, getting angry for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, turning away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then this will manifest as Allah's anger on them on a day of judgment. You get me? Right. So alhamdulillah. So we understand that, right? So we're focused on real fitna. Right? So mudillah, so we say real meaning everlasting. Okay, everlasting fitna. That causes the stripping of people's iman, the removal of people's iman in the time they were in today. Right. So when we speak about this fitna, right, straight away your mind goes to, countries that are very affluent, a lot of them, right? Affluent countries, first world countries, countries exposed to the internet, like countries that are, you would say, also advanced in their development, right? And you find that, yeah, the fitness all there, right? The fitness all there. If you look at the countries like, that they are suffering in the dunya, they are the ones with the strong iman, right? You look at Palestine, you look at people in Rohingya, you look at people in all over the world, right? Even in Yemen, they're so poor here. And you find the strongest iman in these places. Are they being afflicted? Who is being afflicted? Who are the people who are really being afflicted? The ones whereby they go to school, they go to work all day round from morning to evening and spend no time to pray, or the ones who have their homes completely destroyed to the ground, but they have all memorized Quran. Who is the one who's truly being afflicted? Think about it. Who is not being afflicted? Because we all die, whether it's by being killed or whether you die a natural death, you will all die. And when you die, then what? Right? So who is really the one being afflicted? The one who went day after day to no Quran, the one who went day after day, not caring about their five prayers, the one who went day after day not caring about their aura, and not caring about the laws of Islam, not caring about, anything about striving with the akhirah, and they have every wealth in the dunya, and they have peace in the dunya, they have luxury, they have all kinds of things in the dunya. They are more afflicted, aren't they? Terribly afflicted because they're far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there's the worst affliction. And that is what Mudillat al-Fitan is all about. Right? It is a system put in place in the world that we live in, especially the modern world, to bring people as far as possible from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? The strongest way to bring people as far as possible from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, I'm going to test you all. What is the strongest way? Let me see. Anyone who knows how shaitan works, how the shaitan work or the Dajjal work. What is the shortcut way, right, that brings people immediately far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The Prophet ﷺ informed us. This is from the Prophet himself. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What is the sure, never fail way to bring people far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Answer me, answer me your question. Hmm. Yes, correct. Dunya. Okay, dunya is kulli and it's the mantik. Right, dunya is the entire picture. Entertainment is part of dunya. Distraction part of dunya. Right, the one thing that brings the most evil of evil, the source of evil by the hadith of Rasulullah SAW. حب الدنيا رأس كل خطيئة. The love of the dunya is the head source of every wrong action. And that is what the entire Dajjal world is about. Like the entire exaltation of dunya to an extent that people not only do they abandon, their religion, or they abandon the teachings of the religion, they begin to do things that is unthinkable. Right? They break off bonds with their family members, they break off bonds with their parents, like they go around slandering, cheating, lying, all for what? Dunya. And dunya is haqir. Dunya is despised. Dunya mal'una wa mal'una ma fiha. Dunya is cursed in the hadith. And it's cursed all this in it illa dhikrullah. Right? Except the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wal alim wal muta'alim. Right? And the scholar and the student. Right? The student, subhanallah. Okay, so going back to the English here. So for misleading tribulations, right? So no al mudillat al fitan, this is revision. They are the ones that lead an individual, group, family, tribe, or nation to deviate from the correct path and begin to serve causes of evil, the Dajjal or the devil. And all of this will revolve around one problem, which is Hubbud Dunya. I love of the dunya. So last week, I was going to the notes given by Sudani Mashur, my teacher, and she actually broke it down into the different aspects in society where this mudillatul fitan comes in. You get me? So she went into different aspects. So where the tribulations come from where? So it's a system, and last week I explained this, right. It's a system that is designed, and we feel, I'm sure we feel this very strongly. The system designed to kind of corner you, to corner every person into submitting, like, to the abandonment of the religion and the pursuit of dunya, even if they don't want to. Get me? And only the strongest people can resist. So we have come into that. Last week I mentioned about enslavement. We spoke about economy. They enslave us, right? They enslave us by what? By debt. They put you right into debt. The entire system of riba. They bring you into debt, and you are enslaved. You're enslaved for what, 30 years, 40 years? And they give you this false, perception, this facade that you are wealthy. Oh, I can buy one car, two cars, three cars. I can buy a condominium. I can buy, land property. I can buy. Nothing of that is cash. It's all what? Monthly payments. Monthly payments on what? Riba. Right? But it's a false perception that so it goes from people being forced into it. They don't want to go into it, but they're forced into it because they have to live, they have to get a house, get an apartment, and so on. They're forced into it to the extent whereby people get so used to it that they just take this option even without need. So if you think about it, to buy a simple flat or a simple apartment in Singapore, for example, right? You can afford to live, to live, and people take loan for it. How is it justified to buy something even more expensive, to take a bigger loan, because you want some amenities, some facilities, and you are more involved in the riba. You get me? And a lot of times, and I was thinking about condominiums. I'm not. I don't know how many of you are living in condominiums. My parents is a condominium. My parents bought their condominium cash. My parents, mashallah. My mother, mashallah. My mother, mashallah. I think it's sincere intention. My mother, like she hates riba. My mother, she hates riba. Like she hates riba. My mother. So when I was very young, they bought years ago in Singapore. This the price of things in Singapore years ago. They bought a terrace house in the property, for 300,000. Like 300,000, they paid cash. I mean, they kind of like borrowed money and then they kind of paid it off. That house sold for 1 million after a few years. This is like Allah giving her from her sidquniyah. Like she has strong intention to never get involved in the riba, my mother. She has not bought a car in her life on loan, ever. Every car we had, cash, cash upfront. She would even buy cars that are really towards the end, of the years of the car, whereby it's going to be scrapped later on. It's going to go into being scrapped. She will buy those kind of cars because they're much cheaper and then scrap them thereafter. Because she wants to buy cash. She's so against riba, my mother. So she bought the first house when I was very young, you know, and before that they were renting. My parents, mashallah. Before they bought their first house, they were renting apartments because my mother was so against riba. So they bought the first house 3,000 for a terrace house in Singapore last time, long time ago. Right, 300,000 now. What can you buy in Singapore? 300,000, mashallah. And then they sold it for 1 million. So they for 1 million, right? They bought the next house for 800,000. They had 200,000 extra cash, cash, all cash. That amount, I'm just going to speak about my parents, and the amount they sent and they built a masjid. I think somewhere in China or somewhere. They built a masjid, right? That house got sold, so they bought 800,000, they got sold for 1 point something million after that. So they bought our current house for, again, 800,000. So every single time she buys cash. And she had extra money to buy car cash. It's all cash. And and I have no doubt that it is because she she has made a very sincere intention to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that to her life she will not get involved with riba. And she will not get involved. And mashallah, I mean, this is like who would know? Like, my parents are tutors. They're not businessmen. They're not rich. They're tutors. They earn any simple income, any 7 children. Like, but subhanallah, like sincerity in not wanting to get involved in the system, and so never being enslaved. You're not enslaved to the system. It's a relief. But of course, I know, in our zaman, and many of you are involved in loans because there's no way. Because as I said, they corner you. They corner you. Okay, if I go into this entire talk about economy, I won't come out. I will stay here for a long time because the economy is one of those shackles of Dajjal. It's one of the shackles of Dajjal. Okay, it will come to a point in the end of times whereby there'll be food shortage, and this food shortage is staged by Dajjal. He stages it. He will stage calamity in the world. Dajjal, he will stage calamity. Then he will come as a hero, and he will provide food. He will stage disease. Then he will come as a hero to provide cure. Subhanallah, scary world it's gonna be, when Dajjal comes. Right, so and anyone who wants to take food from him, he will make them. He will make them attest that he is indeed God. He will make them. Right, this is gonna be eventually, the end of times. So but now you can see the enslavement going on. I'm not going to keep to the facade, the economy. If I were to speak about the economy and how the entire system has enslaved the entire world, subhanallah, just by the system of riba. And Islam from day one, Islam, right? Warning on riba. Warning on riba. So if someone is taking this lightly, and Allah knows, right? If you are forced into it, you have no choice. You have to get an apartment, you're going to live, you have a family. Yeah, Allah knows. But if you are splurging just because you have a five-figure income, and therefore you buy several things on loan with riba, answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. Answer. right? Answer to Allah. Why was there a need to buy landed property? Why was there a need to buy condominium when another property was cheaper? Why was there a need to buy a fancy car when a simple car was good enough? Like if you buy a car just for you to get around, for work, like for example, for your family, like why did you get like a fancy, I don't know what cars did they have today? I don't know what fancy cars. One day I saw my husband showed me one what slight distraction there. My husband showed me one meme. Like someone was saying, I have a Mercedes. And then the person took a picture of a cat. The cat knows it's a Mercedes logo. Okay, never mind. It was so funny. My husband was showing me the cat is a Mercedes on his nose and a Tesla sign on his forehead. Okay, the Tesla no Mercedes. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So anyway, I mean subhanallah. She had a student previously. She works as a housing agent. And she was going to houses of asatiza. Asatiza, mashallah. Asatiza in Singapore can earn big bucks. Actually, you can see the others if they want to cash in on the religion, they can. Like not the ones who put the madrasah. Yeah, not those. Like there are asatiza in Singapore that they really cash in and they get big bucks coming into their account. To Alam, they're meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But she was saying to me, this is a student of mine, she's not really, she's practicing mashallah, that's not wear the hijab, but she's kind of like, trying to learn and stuff like that. And the thing about our community is that the perception of someone who carries religion is that you're not supposed to carry dunya. That's the perception, right? A righteous individual is not attached to dunya. Correct. A religious individual is not attached. And many of the awliya, mashallah, they have dunya around them, but it's always for their guests. It's always for other people. They always give out in charity. So you won't find them splurging on themselves, right? So I mean, Allah gives wealth to people. So she was saying to me, and this is the perception, of I would say the digital public. I think all of you here that while maybe you might yourself be attached to luxury, to dunya, to fancy things, you would expect people who preach the religion to not be that way. You get me? Like there's an expectation, like in a sense, because I mean you're talking about akhirah, you're talking about Qiyamah, you're talking about Jannah, Nar, and then you're like having all these luxury cars. You get me how that kind of contradicts, that you're having all these luxury cars, like not one, two, but a few luxury cars. So then she was saying to me that she would go to the house of people, because she works as a agent, right? And she's just very bothered. She told me, she doesn't know how to reconcile this. She's saying that she's so bothered that she met, of Asatiza, and they have really, you said, high-end cars, very high-end cars. It's just like she felt so disturbed by that because like what is the reason for buying a high-end car? You know, when I mean really simple cars do the job. Yeah. And a lot of times high-end cars, very high-end maintenance, very high-end petrol consumption, very high-end everything, right? So you see that? So subhanallah. And I said to her, because Suzon, maybe they paid everything cash. I don't know. And she said, but why do they have to buy that? Like, like can't they just buy a normal car? And then if you have so much money, give out in charity lah. And then so many schools, masjids, organizations need charity. And I said to her, I don't know. I can't speak for them. Right? I don't know. I just don't know. Subhanallah. I said, Allahu A'lam. Say Allahu A'lam. We don't know people's hal or their states. Right? But in a sense, as like an intibah, right? Just to pay attention to this. Okay. So the system, first and foremost, it corners you. Secondly, it customizes us. So first it corners us, like into forcing us into conformity to what they want, which is enslavement enslavement financially, right? And then what happens? They customize us to that. So people begin to say, Oh, I earn about 10K a month, 10,000 a month, maybe. Okay, about 3K. I don't know how much people spend on house right now. But maybe 2K goes to my condominium. So I have no clue. And then maybe about I don't know how much goes to my car. Oh, I have a lot left extra. I'm gonna buy another condominium, and then there's gonna be an investment. Oh, but riba's coming in. You're gonna be involved in riba. And I'm gonna buy another car, just so because it's more fancy. I'm going to buy, and they calculate based on installments, not full cash payments, installments. So all this extra stuff, right, has riba. Where does that stand on day of judgment? Okay. So now I'm going to leave this topic, like about the economy, but the entire point is to demonstrate, like, how these things manipulate the human being, right, manipulate the society, manipulate the zaman, our era, like into an enslavement to working round the clock just to get these fine things in life. And I won't call them fine, I'll call them shackles, shackles of life or shackles. Okay, the next one is tarbiyah. So I'm going to the different aspects of human society, of community, whereby Zanisa points out from these things comes the al-mudillatul fitan. It's from these things, al-mudillatul fitan. So we went through tadris. I went to ilm, right? Uslub al-ilm, ways of knowledge. Tadris, teaching. Tabligh, relaying information. Shu'un al-i'tiqad, right? Belief systems. Al-hukm, government. Iqtisad, economy. We've gone through all of them, right? Tarbiyah. We are tarbiyah. And where is tarbiyah? Like, where is tarbiyah? Where is tarbiyah? In our zaman, where is tarbiyah? There is no tarbiyah, right? There is no tarbiyah. Right? So there is entire abandonment of proper Islamic tarbiyah in our zaman, and that tarbiyah is now done by screens. Right? So children are raised in front of what? Cartoons, right? In front of the TV shows, in front of sitcoms. Like children grow up watching Disney Channel, Nickelodeon. It's so much filth in there. I don't even know what's going on right now in the world that we live in. Netflix and all kinds of things on YouTube and everything. It's so disturbing that our children are growing up not at the hands of human beings who care to nurture them. They don't raise down around them. I mean, right now, the rearing of children, right, the nurturing of children has come to a point whereby just give whatever they want, so they don't bother us. Right? Give them their gadget, give them their phone, give them Netflix, get them hypnotized. And really, they go into a trance, children. In fact, adults also. You on a movie in front of them, straight away they are kind of like in a very subdued I don't know behavior, like as if they had some tranquilizer being shot into them, and they go into this lull, right? They go into this hypnosis, right? This trance because they're so engrossed in what they are watching. And it could even be they have no idea what they're watching. I've seen children, they're watching things that is not even their language. It's something else, but it's a cartoon with things moving here and there and whatsoever. And they get so into it. So what's the tarbiyah? Right? So Mudillatul Fitan has entered into tarbiyah, right, by replacing proper Islamic tarbiyah, which inshallah in the morning class for the Fajr with Khulukuna, I've been going through the principles of tarbiyah Qur'aniyah wa Nabawiyah. What are the principles of tarbiyah in the Quran and in the hadith of Rasulullah. All of this, like you see, the majority of human beings in our zaman, they have abandoned. The majority, except for those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mercy on. Right? But the majority of them have abandoned. So what is Quranic tarbiyah? When you wake up, first thing first, take wudu, pray 2 rakats, Quran. How many, I won't even say children, adults, kan, adults. How many adults do that every single morning? Wake up, first thing first, wudu, 2 rakats, Quran. Not no question, no question. Just that. Like subhanallah, where are we? Like where are we? But rather our tarbiyah right now is what? Wake up, first thing, phone. Correct. Check messages. Some people even go into social media early in the morning. They go to Facebook, check messages, check Instagram, check Facebook, check TikTok. That's your video lah, eh? That's the video of our zaman. The tarbiyah is that. First thing first, check phone, check all of the social media, right? Allah Alam whether this point in time that they have woken up is after subuh or before subuh. Right? Subhanallah. May Allah wake us up. Right? So tarbiyah, right? So and also the zaman has forced us into focusing our children on academics and not akhlaq. Whereas in Islam, first 7 years of a child's life, you are focused on two main things, aqidah wal akhlaq. Aqidah and akhlaq. Right. Uh, I- there is no exception to the rule. Right. First 7 years has to be um, the belief system of a has to be the belief system of a child, aqidah, right? So first 7 years, talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, talk about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, talk about the angels, talk about the judgment, talk about hereafter, talk about paradise, talk about the hellfire, talk about all of these things, talk about it. First 7 years, it has to be ingrained in them because if it's not ingrained in them, they will find obedience hard because you don't have the foundation as to why we obey. We obey because this entire life is a test. But this whole thing is skipped. Why? Because I want my child to read. I want my child to have to do mathematics. I want my child to study all the sciences. I want my child to get into a good school. I want my child. And then there's a neglect in aqidah, neglect in akhlaq. Like no focus on the akhlaq of the child. Right? Subhanallah. I said two things for 7 years. First 7 years, two main focus points in their tarbiyah. Aqidah akhlaq. Right? Aqidah akhlaq. Even in Islam, the hadith, only at age 7 that you command them on the prayer. Before 7, you encourage them, yes. Right? But at 7, commandment on the prayer. So only at 7 comes in the laws. But how would you expect obedience if the first 7 years you did not attach your hearts to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? There was no attachment. And then people now complain that kids have terrible, terrible akhlaq because first 7 years, no one cared to correct them on their akhlaq. And human beings are born nafsi nafsi, and human beings are just balls of nafs, right? So and this will manifest at 2 years old. At 2 years old, you will see. In fact, even before that, you might see that human beings are born selfish. And most human beings are selfish, unless you are someone very special. Like Rasulullah Wasallam, who when he was a baby that was suckling, he would only drink from one breast to allow his milk brother to drink from the other. But he's Rasulullah Wasallam. Most human beings are born selfish, and we are trained into selflessness. And we are trained. And most human beings are born, aggressive. They're actually born aggressive, and you are trained right, into gentleness. You're trained into that, right? But if they are witnessing around them aggression, if they are witnessing around them selfishness, if they are witnessing around them foul behavior, they're going to pick up. That is exactly what they're going to pick up. So the biggest that is with that in the destruction in their tarbiyah. They have no connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no connection to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They are not, trained in having good akhlaq. What do you expect as they grow older and they gain more dunyawi knowledge and they leave the religion? And you say, where did we go wrong? Right? From the very beginning, there was no ta'alluq. There was no connection from the very beginning. They never loved Allah from the very beginning. They were just told, put on the hijab, go and pray, go and fast, go and this, go and that. Yeah, the tarbiyah is lacking. And there's no strong family unit. And again, this all also goes back to the entire destruction of the family unit in society. Oh, just the whole thing is a huge major thing. So the entire invention of feminism, which is Dajjalic, by the way, as if you all don't know, now you know, feminism was invented by Dajjal. No doubt, no doubt. It's Dajjal behind it. Like he is the one who put his own slaves to invent feminism to destroy women and men. Even men are destroyed by feminism. Women and men. Why? To the eventual destruction of the family. And with the destruction of the family comes no tarbiyah, or difficult tarbiyah. It is difficult. And I know those of you who are single parents, or from divorced households, or you are divorced yourself, it is hard. You try to enforce something, but perhaps you only get the kids half the time, maybe, or they go to the other side, all and then. I know, like it's a struggle. It's a struggle, right? And we're not blaming people, but we're saying this is what has happened. It is reality. So when we say all of this stuff, right, in this entire section, it's not that I'm going around trying to just, bash everybody. What we're trying to do is to just say things as they are, like put it all out on the table. This is exactly what we all know our society has come to. I'm not saying anything new here, right? I am not saying anything new. We all know this. All that I've said so far, you all know it. Right? But we're putting it out on the table right now. And look at it. Look at what has happened. Right? Because once we recognize that from these aspects of society, that is where the mudilat al fitness is coming in, then inshallah, we can take lengths to protect ourselves and our families. And in the end of times, it's literally that. In the end of times, it's you and your family. Right? It will be difficult to go society. You just huwais nafsik. And in the hadith of Islam, that you and those who are close to you, you try your best to work with them. Right? You try your best to protect them, especially your children. Because you have control of it. They have control in that area, right? Especially the young ones around you, right? Wal-i'lam, ya Allah, i'lam. One by one, these topics, ya Allah, Zanisa. Zanisa, she's hitting everything on the nail. Her notes are from Habib lah. It's from Habib Abu Bakr Mashhur. But it's exactly on the i'lam media. How do I even, cover the topic of media? Media, like Mudiratul Fitan, tribulations that mislead. Or media is one of the strongest sources, right, at the core of it, destroying people in their minds, right, in the hearts of their homes. Right, shaitan coming right into the bedroom. Right now, it's in our phones. They were watching all kinds of rubbish. Right, in the media, the media, the media. And it's been going on for decades. Right, so from the beginning of the invention of radio and TV. Right, so when they began doing all these signals, the satellite, signals. So previously it was just, by TV or by radio. But now, oh ya Allah, the moment the internet boomed, like the moment the internet boomed, khalas, while the media has its good, because it is a tool nonetheless. It is a tool. And right now we are using the tool of technology, right? And you can use the media for good, right? But 90% of the media will be evil. So when someone enters into the world of the media, you have to be very strong in your taqwa, to block all the evil that's out there. And we know it. That you could literally go, on YouTube and you search Habib Omar, for example. You search, you want to listen to a particular lecture by a particular scholar. You search, maybe the first video is Habib, and the rest of the videos are all just foul, rubbish, God knows what, ya Allah. Like just nonsense thereafter. And that's how it is. Not that nowadays, alhamdulillah, I just try to just follow his Telegram and follow his YouTube page, follow his WhatsApp page. So you kind of like just follow exactly. So you don't have to go to YouTube and search for anything. Right? Just follow exactly the Telegram page and see the exactly the links that's there. Subhanallah. So the media, from the film industry, the music industry, advertisements, like talk shows. I was discussing with my husband the other day, about how So many people now online, right? They rise to fame quickly. Just come in, come in, come in, come in, come in. Okay. That if you think about it, right? I mean, I'm sure you all know this. I hope you all know this. Like so many, how do you say this? Other influencers, right? On YouTube, suddenly they rise to fame. Have you noticed it? Like suddenly some people just rise to fame, and there's so many followers and kind of like that the content is not really all that. Sometimes I see but they have someone behind them or an entire organization or an entire group of people behind them pumping in money, right? Working with the algorithm, right, to raise these people. Why? To get more followers so they can start injecting their agenda in the words of these people. And that's the entire thing about media. Media is all about brainwashing. Today I explained to the kids the word brainwashing because I use the word brainwashing today in the kids class. And they're like, what is brainwashing? Wash the brain. Oh, I explained to them what is brainwashing. Like how are human beings being brainwashed? And that's the entire thing about the media. An entire brainwashing, an entire conformity. Right? Because this is what Dajjal wants. Dajjal wants one one direction mindset that whatever Dajjal says, سمعنا وأطعنا, we hear and we obey, no question. This is what they want. And they don't want thinking individuals. They don't want critical individuals. They don't want any of these, right? So they will put this pretense, of critical thinking, right? But what they are doing is basically hooking people by their noses, and dragging them their way. That's what they do. They're shackling human beings by the minds. And if you look into this book, and if you look into the books of the scholars, they will say in the past it was colonialism by land, but now it is colonialism by mindset. And they have colonized our brains. They have colonized our perception, our culture, even colonized. Right now, this entire exaltation of Western culture, right? Subhanallah. And we spoke earlier on before, about how, we're not Western, we're Asian, or we're Indian, or we're Pakistani, or whatever we are, Arab. But Subhanallah, if you look at, for example, at weddings, every single wedding will have Western dress. And we don't have a drop of being Western in our blood. Not a single drop. We're Malays, we're Indians, we're Muslims. Right? But this entire thing about the Western culture and the aggrandization of the Western culture, right? And right now, in the time that we're in right now, seeing what's happening to Gaza, you should be disgusted, right, by the Western system, disgusted, and I mean the governments, right? Be disgusted by them. Of course, the people there, they're all rising up and trying to revolt and so on and so forth, right? But Habib Umar, he says in his classes, right, that this entire thing in Gaza, Allah is waking up the Muslims to stop exalting the West, stop exalting their system, stop exalting their lifestyle, their way, stop exalting Hollywood, stop exalting all of these films and celebrities and music. Stop it. Right? They have no humanity, their governments. And in fact, a lot of celebrities themselves are pro Israel, a lot of them. Right? They support murder. The day my husband was showing me, this someone was commenting, on how sick it is to be signing on bombs. Where did they do that? They sign on bombs, like, as much as you hate someone, right? It takes some form of monstrosity to actually proudly want your signature on bombs to destroy people's homes. As much as you might hate someone, like it's like beyond belief what's going on. So shame on those people who are still aggrandizing and exalting, Western media, right, Western lifestyle, and what I mean is that this Hollywood culture is all an i'lam, all an i'lam. It is a brainwashing, eh? It's a brainwashing, and from there comes really the destruction at the core of it all. of a person's iman because they consume and consume and consume all of these ideologies that's coming from an essentially atheist system. It is atheist. It is atheist. They're not Christian. Some of them they are, but essentially it's all dunya. It's all atheist. That means that there is an enslavement and a worship of money, right? Of money. And that is why they go around showing the mansions of celebrities, showing the high life of celebrities. They've all this, like fancy, I don't know, fancy weddings. And people just look at it and they're amazed. You should be disgusted. Like disgusted in the world that people are suffering from hunger. These people are just splurging millions of dollars, like for example, on a ring like on a wedding ring. Just millions. حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. So إعلام إعلام wake up. Okay, wake up. ثقافة ثقافة يا الله one by one. ثقافة culture. This one is culture. Oh ya Allah. Where to say culture? So Mudilla to student coming into our culture. What's our culture today? Culture, let's start with food. Food is culture. Hmm. Food. Oh ya Allah. I just really laugh for the boycott. I'm so happy that, I think most of us have gone almost a year not eating McDonald's or eating. I hope so. I hope so. Right? Like you quit McDonald's for almost a year now. We should have done it earlier, right? Should have stopped eating all this junk food way earlier. KFC. That day I saw was it an article or something about KFC? I can't remember about the boycott at KFC. I can't remember. I saw some. I trying to get my memory back. I saw someone's. But also disgusting. Also disgusting. It was from a Muslim, and it was one of Muslims preacher, preacher, like who was kind of against people boycotting KFC. Like I don't know why. Like what? There's so many issues going on in the Muslim world, and you want to like tell people they should not boycott KFC. You know what? Just the health of it, how incredibly unhealthy, and also the gross practices in these food chains and how they torture animals. Like they have no humanity at all towards animals just by that and the amount of hormones injected, the amount of it's a whole thing. Nothing is good about it. Nothing at all is good about it. Right? Nothing wholesome, nothing good. It destroys your iman. Like so the entire food culture, if in our zaman and really like ya Allah. The entire also medication culture. There's also a medication culture whereby we have come to be people that we can't even take slight discomfort. The moment you have a stupid straight away Panadol, straight away aspirin. You can't sit down and just eat and just praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and just take it. Sometimes like for me like if I get fever, right? I find it refreshing, to just go through the motion. Just go through the motion. Your body needs a break. Sleep, right? Like oh ya Allah. Small tiny thing. Now like people are even obsessed with pimples. Oh, got pimple on my face. Straight away they buy you know what and they paste on their face. Ya Allah. I mean seriously we have become so incredibly weak and petty. It's a culture. It's a culture. Oh, you have pimple on your face. So what? I mean, honestly, so what? If you're a mother, you're your 30s, your 20s, so what? So what? Ask your husband. Does it bother him? Like, oh, my people face, people on my face. Does it bother him? If it does bother him, if it's a level of whereby like it's eczema, it's a different thing. Different thing. I'm not talking about illnesses. Yeah, it's like illnesses. I'm speaking about that one random pimple that appears. It's one random. Let it let it take its course. Yani. It will just grow, then it goes away. Colors. Oh, there's a scar. It's okay. I have scars on my face. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother my husband. I mean, subhanAllah. But it's a culture. It's a culture. It's a culture. Like that we can't, subhanAllah, hungry a little bit, can't even go through a bit of hunger. Oh, so hungry. I need to keep this in my bag all the time in case I'm hungry. Can't even can't even go through a bit of hunger. Ya Allah. Subhanallah. And then culture of clothing, everything, like everything. Clothing, oh, I need to buy this new thing or that new thing, and every year must change my clothes, every year must buy new clothes, every year. It's a mentality, get me? It's a mentality. Subhanallah. It's really then the entire thing about the culture of beautification, this whole obsession. I know in the West it's like way worse than I think in Asia also quite bad. If you look at the Koreans, the Japanese, like they really do stuff to their faces to change how they look. It's a culture. I hope Muslims, we're not involved in this. Come on, Muslims. This morning I was talking to the children, about people who like to change their eye color. Why? I spoke to the children about it, right? Because it is a culture. Why do people change their eye color? Why? I mean, so black. What's wrong with black? What's wrong with black? Does Islam have black eyes, right? But why do we Asians see again aggrandization of what? The West. Then not happy with brown hair or black hair, not happy. Must be blonde. See that the Asians. Why? Why? Like, oh, I want green eyes, I want blue eyes. Like not happy with the brown or the black eyes. Why? What's wrong with the eyes? Nothing wrong. Or one double eyelids, one single eyelid, or one a sharper nose, one flat nose. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. The culture is so incredibly shallow and petty. That is from where? I'lam. I'lam. That's from media. The media is doing that to us. Like, subhanallah. And it's alarming, I think if they did a poll or something and see in developed countries, like what's the percentage of people who have gone through plastic surgery? It's an obsession. An obsession, just an obsession. They want to make their cheek high, the cheekbones higher. They want to make their what like, and then ya Allah. So, but it's taqafa. So that if the fitna come in, because all of this is what? All of these will be the exaltation of dunya, the exaltation of what is temporary, of what is skin deep, of what is superficial, what is material, what is superficial. And in exalting all of these things comes the neglect of what is deep, what is important, and what is the purpose of our life, which is our religion, the hereafter. Right? So they put in a lot of money, find a lot of money just to fix their face. They're gonna die anyway and gonna face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Subhanallah. Right. So it's really okay. So it's really subhanallah. Okay, I'm gonna finish this one. So أمور الديانة والتدين وفي كل هذه تأتي فتن وأساليب يحصل بها نقد للثوابت. Exactly this. So the Anisa said, so all of these things, right, and in methods in the religion and also, in holding on to lifestyles, all of these things is a ways of fitan, of tribulation, that will bring about a deficiency, or a deterioration or an abolishment of the thawabit, and the thawabit are iman, Islam, ihsan. Right? Iman, Islam, ihsan. Let me demonstrate. For example, ihsan, first thing to be attacked. Right? When someone keeps obsessing about their looks, this will erode away in their heart a contentment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as to how Allah has created them. Get me? If someone is highly dependent on medication, the slightest, tiniest thing, they want medication. It is eroding in their heart a reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People in the past, when they fall sick, the first thing they do is istighfar, because they know it's from their sins that they have fallen sick. The first thing they do is istighfar. And they will sit down and do istighfar in the thousands. That was their understanding. They run back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see that? And erosion where? Ihsan. Erosion right there. Right? With regards to what I mentioned about tarbiyah, about tarbiyah, about iqtisad, about economy. Destroying what? Islam, right? So now people, they push their prayers to the side, hardly do their qabliya wa ba'diyah, hardly even do their fardiyah. Like they hardly even do the compulsory prayers, right? And they go into situations whereby they compromise their religion. They go for workplace, parties whatsoever, alcohol everywhere, all kinds of maksiat going on, a lot of compromise. And you feel you are compelled to do so, right? And I'm what again what am I doing is that I'm just putting everything out on the table. Speak about it, all right? And you see yourself, what can you do with your life? When you go into it, an i'tiqad, yani, so basically i'lam, media destroys right at the core people's belief system, right? So if they keep consuming and especially if they keep consuming enemy, right? So the Anisa, she would say, anime. I'm not saying anime drawings because I know there are all kinds of drawings that are anime, but anime in a sense, from where's anime from? Korea, Japan, Japan. Sorry, anime that's coming from Japan, right? Destroys Akira. She said, Zanisa, anime destroys Akira. It destroys the Akira of the children. If your kids are watching anime, sorry, I don't know where anime is coming from, okay? I'm like, subhanAllah. Anime destroys Akira. And anime, subhanAllah, anime is pornographic. Do you realize that? I wonder at parents who allow their kids to watch anime. It's so sleazy and so sexual and so disgusting. And how in the world, Ya Allah, do you allow your children to watch anime? Subhanallah. Disney destroys akhlaq. Disney is that so you see, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I don't even watch anime, but they post out here and there, right? So and it's always like that very big breasted woman, very short skirts. As parents, be aware. What are your kids watching? What are your kids watching? Ya Allah. Subhanallah. Ya Allah, Subhanallah. So this is why no يحصل بها نقض للثوابت, like a destruction in Islam, Iman, and Ihsan. We have just covered, and we only scratch the surface. We only scratch the surface. In my degree course, through the 4 years, inshallah, that I'm going to go through. I'm finishing my first year, inshallah. I'll do our finals in the next 2 weeks. Then I'll complete my first year of university. Right. The next 3 years, I was looking at the modules. Like every one of the sciences is a module. Like every one of these five sciences is a module in itself. So a full exploration, a full, looking at this science. And of course, the examples I gave you all, right, are examples unique to our culture, in the West or in Singapore. Right? The examples that Anissa gave me was unique to the Arabs, unique to the Yemenis, especially to the Arabs. So, and the Arabs know that they have gone down the road of destruction. Like, so if you go to many Arab countries today, so many of them have lost their faith. So many of them are drinking. They look down or they scorn upon the hijab. Like, so many of them, they see people who take the path of religion to be backward. If you've gone through enough Arab countries, you see this. So the Arabs themselves, like, is an alarm. Habib Abu Bakr, he will keep saying it to the Arabs, wake up, wake up, wake up. So like for me, when I take this knowledge, and bring it to us here in Singapore or in the West, because it's kind of similar, our culture, Singapore and the West. And we're also really similar in the same globalized modern day culture, same alarm in the same media. Um, and just the examples I'm giving is specific to our society, right? So subhanAllah, can you imagine that they have an entire module to study each and every one of these sciences. I'm just giving all the space, just the surface itself. So inshallah, next lesson I will go. She said وأربابها أي بمعنى أصحابها الذي يروجونها في حياة الشعوب مثل الكفر والدجال والشيطان كما جاء ذلك عمن لا ينطق عن الهوى صلى الله عليه وسلم في قوله لينقضن عور الإسلام عروة عروة. هذا حديث الإسلام imagine. Right, ويشير النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى أن العرى سينقض وستنقض كلما نقضت عرة أي حصل خلل فيها تمسك الناس بالتي تليها. وفي هذا آم، وفي هذا آه، آه، تكلم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن فئتين. And so inshallah, I will go into this entire thing later on about where is this coming from? This all this fitna. I did speak about it earlier on, and where it's coming from. Of course, it's from an entire system. This whole thing is planned. This whole thing. Don't think that these things are all separate fitnas. No, the whole thing worldwide is planned. The whole thing worldwide is planned. Right? So the entire entertainment system, the entire music system, the whole aggrandization of music is crazy in our zaman. And honestly, it's crazy how singers are idolized. Right? They idolize singers. Right? People go through crazy lengths just to be able to buy tickets to a concert. It's so crazy, Allah. I really wonder if Muslims would do it. Do they not believe in the hereafter? Think about it. Do they not believe in the hereafter? And mashallah, my kids were in one of the madrasas in Singapore. They were saying to me that they had friends in primary school of the madrasa in Islamic school. They had friends who cried when they couldn't get Taylor Swift tickets. And Taylor Swift came to Singapore when? For Ramadan. Yeah, before Ramadan. You are preparing for Ramadan. You're coming to Ramadan. And how in the world, where are the parents? These kids are primary school. They're in primary school. And they're crying that they can't get tickets to Taylor Swift concert before Ramadan. Like, so, but these are all things we put on the table. We see this is what's going on in our society. And the majority, this will be the majority. So guard over your families, guard over your children. Don't take things lightly. Don't think it's just a small thing. It's like that, no issue. They can watch a bit of whatever. No, no. Every drop of poison destroys a person. Like poisons, they accumulate and eventually lead to destruction. So these are all drops of poison. So every time you allow for them to watch, to consume, to listen, right, to even read, there are even books out there that's full of poison. Right? Every drop will accumulate, and it will destroy what? The ruh. It will destroy the soul of a human being. So inshallah, we'll continue next week. Wasallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin. My test for Fiqh Tahawala is on Monday. Tuesday. My finals for Fiqh Tahawala on Tuesday, on Nubdhah Sugra. Alhamdulillah. But Ustazah Anisa is going to test us only on the Nubdhah, not on the Shara. She's like, so much in the Shara, Ya Allah. She's like, Shara is for you all to understand. No, just the book is on the button. But Alhamdulillah, it's coming on this Tuesday for my exam. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us clarity. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us strength also. Like strength to stay away from these things. I know there are a few questions here. Let me see the questions. I saw a few questions earlier on. With regards to fiqh questions there, I'm not going to answer. Please fiqh tahawulat, not fiqh madhabi. Okay, fiqh tahawulat. Like, so I know there are like a few questions on fiqh. You can ask, I ask Ustad platform. Okay, you can ask that. Okay, so you ask about car loans, you can ask Ustad platform. You can ask proper fiqh platforms. Okay, like investment, same thing. Ask the proper fiqh platforms, not fiqh tahawulat. Fiqh tahawulat, I will answer questions that are specific to fitan. Okay, to tribulations. If you're asking me fiqh questions, I'm not going to answer. Right. Uh, right. Someone asked about insurance. Okay, not the fear of it, but the tasawwuf of it. Are we not practicing tawakkul, right? When we have insurance. Interesting. If you have heard me long enough, like for me personally, my insurance is sedekah. It's my insurance, and I have no fear. I honestly have no fear. I honestly have no fear. People say to me, oh no, you need to get insurance, life insurance, whatsoever, to cover you if something happens, a musibah happens. You know what? Allah Ar-Razzaq, do we forget that? I have no doubt that if I constantly give charity, I have no doubt that if I constantly give charity, Allah will not leave me. destitute. He won't. At the point of musibah, he won't. And may Allah protect us from musibah. Yani. But that's my holding. I'm not forcing anyone on it, but that's my holding. So I have zero insurance. And I'm not afraid because Allah has been supporting human beings through their musibahs for since Nabi Adam alayhi salam. Yani, you don't survive by insurance, right? Human beings have been surviving all the while. But again, there are fatwas about it, there are laws about it. You can go into it, right? And you can see the hukum. Right? I'm not answering this question from the side of fiqh. I'm answering from the side of tasawwuf. Okay? Know the difference there? Like from the side of tasawwuf, different. From the side of fiqh, different. You get me? So, for example, medication. From the side of fiqh, they'll say permissible. Right? From the side of tasawwuf, they will say increase your ibadah. Right? Increase your ibadah, do more istighfar. Side of tasawwuf. You get me? So Islam is Islam, iman wa ihsan. Get me? Right? So you go in this way. Tamam. Right. Um, with regards to my getting tarim, I mean, those of you who know me, right? I'm here to study to go home. You all know that, right? I'm not here to run. I'm not running from Singapore. Righteousness, inshallah, you know, you choose it. Wherever you are in the world, you choose a righteous life. You're choosing it. I know people here in Tarim, and now the internet Tarim is getting stronger and stronger. Alhamdulillah, I was in this smooth today. MashaAllah. I know people in Tarim, they have brought a sound system, their Xboxes, they bring an entire hard drive of movies. They brought their dunya with them. So, so it's really, honestly, it's really you. If you want to live a clean life, a life dedicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can do that anywhere you are on this earth. Allah is with you, right? Anywhere you are on this earth, you can do that, right? So really, I would say really, I'm not here to run. I'm here to study and decide to go back to my people, right? Because of what I'm seeing in our countries. But understand, many people come here and they're not actually here. They bring their dunya with them. And there are many people in their own home countries and they are on the way of the awliya and the ulama. It's amazing. They're on the way of the salaf. They're on the way of the habaib. They're on the way of the right. They could be Canada, they could be in the UK, and they're living a life that is prophetic. And there are people who are over here who are living lives that are dunya. It's just you. If you can't cleanse yourself while you are in Singapore, what makes you think you can cleanse yourself when you're here? The internet is just as strong right now. You can access almost anything right now, right here. And just, subhanallah, I don't want to say things about here, but evil has come here. And evil is all over the world. Shaitan is everywhere. Lah. Shaitan is everywhere. As well as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be called upon wherever you are on earth. Understand that? Okay? Understand that. So don't think I must be in Tari before I can be righteous, before I can live a righteous life. You choose right now that you don't want to watch all these things anymore. You choose right now that you don't want all this stuff anymore in your lives. You choose it. You choose right now to wake up before Fajr. You choose it. You choose right now every day, half an hour of Quran. You're going to choose it. If you're not going to choose it right now, what makes you think you're going to be doing it here? Understand that? Right. Now, oh, no, no. Cleanse, yes. Cleanse. Stop watching it. You need to stop. You need to stop watching all these poisons and everything. You need to stop watching it. Stop consuming it. Um, um Subhanallah. Someone in Egypt. Think the Arabs, if you come to the Arab world, right? They see Islam as very backward. And it's something that Habib Abu Bakr will highlight over and over and over again in the Tahawulat that Islam is not backward. Islam is not the reason, for people being backward. No, right? But Islam is in fact a very progressive religion. It is dunya that makes people backward. Subhanallah. Egypt is Egypt. Mesir. Allah, Egypt. Egypt is very confused. Okay, Egypt. There's a lot of things going on in Egypt. There's a lot of goodness there, mashallah, tabarakallah. Yani, but a lot of them are they have taken on a very modern outlook in life. Egypt, Turkey, the UAE, of course, Dubai, is Saudi Arabia. It has come into Yemen as well, and it's all hubud dunya. It's all love of the dunya. That's all it is. Okay, and so these are things that and they grew up in a time whereby there's a full exaltation of the West. As this person you're sharing about, she's one of many. She's one of many. And it's amazing that I'm seeing that, subhanAllah, it is the Muslims in the West, in Singapore and the West, right, that they are the ones running back to religion. Like, while the people in Muslim lands, like the Middle East especially, unfortunately, a lot of them are running away from religion. May Allah bring everybody back to religion, inshallah. Mm. Um, and really, the question here, you all need to send me questions in public, okay? Don't send me, like I said before, don't send me questions that are private because then everybody else can't see the question. Okay, so say again, eh? Later on, I'm going to change the settings. Only send me questions that are public. You can change your name, put like a dash or a dot or something. Change your name like Vishai, right? But put it all in public so that people can see your question. So someone asked a question here: how do you build strength to be steadfast in the clean life when people around you are drowned in the poison? If you're so lonely, but expect to do all the goodness, this is not exemplifying it. Do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Correct your intentions. This path is no one said is going to be, a popular path. No. In fact, Rasulullah said, tuba lil ghuraba. He said, no, good news to the strangers. You will be a stranger. In the end of times, this lifestyle to stay away from the media, to stay away from music, to stay away from movies and Hollywood. Okay, sorry, I'm back now. Sorry. The internet broke. So anyway, I lost all the questions already. Khalas. My internet broke and I can't see any of the chats. I can. MashaAllah, I can see the chats. I do know I can see the chats. Right, so just be prepared that you're going to live this life, this path is ghuraba. Yani, ghuraba. Okay, so be prepared. Be prepared. The path of the prophets is unpopular. Okay, the prophets, Nabi Ibrahim, how many years da'wah? Only less than 5 people followed him. Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam. Nabi Nuh, it's a very lonely path. Brace yourself. Okay, brace yourself. Um, when it comes to the tarbiyah of children, the best way to protect them from exposure misinformation or watered down of the deen on the internet, social media, is to ensure strong tarbiyah by the parents at home and lots of dua. Correct on point. Okay, human to human education. Nothing can compare to that. Human to human heart that is filled with iman to human heart to fill that heart with iman. Okay, that is the best way of tarbiyah for your children. You as a human being in front of them, not a gadget. You. Okay. Barakallahu fikum. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. I apologize if I was harsh on anything. Mashallah, and may Allah preserve what is good and remove what is evil. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الفاتحة أن الله يرزقنا منافع وعملا خاصة والأرواح معاني من مشايخنا. الفاتحة. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. High chances I'm probably going to continue these classes through the Dawra, but I'll see how it goes. Inshallah, I'll see how it goes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.